Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Keswick Ripple podcast. My name is Jim Lang. I'm the Director of Guest Services here at America's Keswick. And each week we want to bring you a testimony that we hope encourages your heart and life. One of the most dynamic parts of our ministry is that when a man or woman comes to one of our programs and is radically changed by the gospel of Jesus Christ, they're then sent back out to their churches, their families, their communities, and God uses them in a mighty way. So today I want to introduce you to Joe, and Joe is a full-time staff member here at America's Keswick in Raw's kitchen. And so Joe, thank you for taking some time to share your story.
Thank you for having me out here.
And so why don't you begin by telling everyone what life was like before coming to the colony?
Yeah, before coming to the colony, my life was a mess. I couldn't hold a job. Actually, I would have a job. At the end of the day, I would tell my boss to pay me. I was sleeping on my grandmother's couch. It wasn't a good time.
Okay. It wasn't fun. So how do you're struggling in your addiction? How do you hear about the colony? What made you finally decide to come?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting story. So my aunt was a dentist assistant, and she was happening to help a gentleman out before he would see the dentist. And somehow my addiction got brought up, and I got brought up. And this gentleman who happened to be a pastor told her about America's Keswick and the Colony of Mercy. So she told me, and when I first heard it was 4 months, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But then my addiction slowly started to progress, and it was time to do something about that.
Now, you came in and you weren't a believer, so you didn't know anything about Christianity or anything like that. So what was your first couple of experiences like at the colony?
So my first day here was a text and testimony, and what it is basically guys are sharing their story, what God's doing in their lives, singing, praising God. And I remember, just worldly as they come, just shaking my head, looking down, like, bro, what did you get yourself into? And so I remember the newer guys coming right after me, like the days after me. I would tell them, like, hey, listen, don't drink the punch, Yeah, so that was my beginning experiences here.
So who or what did God use you to start drawing you to himself?
So like I said, my first couple of weeks here were rough. I actually wrote a letter to my mother. I said, hey, listen, you got to get me out of here. I'm surrounded by a bunch of weirdos, and I'm not liking it. So she wrote me a letter back, and she said, all right, you can leave, but you got to find a place to go. You got to find a ride to get you. So I was heated from that letter. So I was talking to my chaplain at the time. He said, listen, Joe, stay 30 days, but really apply yourself. So I said, okay. So at the end of the workday, nothing really made sense when I was in like the first couple of weeks. But at the end of the workday, before I would go to sleep, I would open my Bible and start reading. And one of the things that I remember is how basically the same things that were happening 2,000 years ago are happening today. And I was like, wait a minute. Something's, what I'm saying? There's something here. So I really just started to dig in.
So God ended up grabbing a hold of your heart and calling you to himself. And so you didn't just stay for the 4 months. You then signed on for the 3-month additional discipleship. And I think you extended that a couple times as well. And then stayed on for a year internship. So what kind of made you decide to do that?
Well, I just liked what God was doing in my life. I liked the man that he was growing me into. And I just wanted to see, like I said, at the time I had no family. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids at the time. So I said, what can it hurt?
Yeah. And so what has God been doing in your life now that you finished your internship, you came on a full-time staff member? How many years have you been working here now?
It's going to be 4 next month.
Okay. Yeah, time really flies. And so what has God been doing in your life since you've been working here?
So I met my wife here, actually. We got married. It'll be 3 years, almost 3 years. We have our first child on the way. Right. I went back to school. He's been, really just working in my life and our lives. And I got to say, it's all just being faithful to him,
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
He's even given you an opportunity to kind of, you're a work supervisor for some of the men, and you get to kind of share your story, and you also preach down at the Colony Chapel as well, which is always neat to see. In addition to having a new baby on the way, you have a dog as well, which is important.
That's my other child. That's my other child. Yep.
And so, what would you say to someone? There's probably someone today watching who's struggling with addiction. Who's probably where you were, living on grandma's couch. What would you say to them today?
I would say don't sit in your shame. I would say reach out. The world's looking for capable leaders, and it starts with us. It starts with you.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you for taking the time to share a little bit of your story. We hope that this was an encouragement to your heart and life. If it was, we want you to like it and share it on Facebook, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.